We only have two types of transformation. The first one is go through pain, and second way is grow through insights. Ignorance will cost you even more than so you can just decide by yourself. You want to educate yourself, invest in yourself, or you want to ignore it and see what's the consequences after that. Sometimes you have to destroy a part of your life that is really good to allow what is truly great to enter. Instead of questioning whether you are good enough to achieve your goals, you should consider whether your goals are meaningful and valuable enough to deserve your time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Future Builders podcast by Empowered Liion. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Ballerina. We are here to help you turn your passion into a fulfilling career and live the life you desire.
It's possible to make money doing what you truly love, and we are doing this right now. Yay!
Yay! So last week we have covered a few important points, which are the part one of this book, The Buddha and the Badass. We have covered about how foundational and organizational values can bring us success, the importance of manifesto for both company and personal.
Then we move on to talk about four clusters of human needs, and we covered the first two parts. The first one was connection and belongings, and the second one was self-esteem.
So the content that we have covered last week is super important and you won't want to miss it. So if you haven't watched the previous episode or listened to it, feel free to do it.
Yes.
So let's start our content this week. We are going to continue the last two humans four clusters of needs. So we are talking about self-actualization right now. And then self-actualization, this one is all about transformation and personal growth. If you wonder what kind of transformation we can make and how can we have this kind of transformation, it's very simple. We only have two types of transformation. The first one is go through pain, which means all the bad experiences that you have previously. And second way is grow through insights. It can be something that you read from the book, or somebody told you this, or you suddenly realize about something.
Yeah, so Belle, you have just included an example of going through insight. It is like reading a book. Maybe I can give more context about growing through pain. I believe most of you would have this experience if you are working in an office. You are required to make a presentation in the office. While you are doing the presentation, then you get questioned by the managers in the room. It doesn't make you feel good. But the comments given by the managers are meant for you to reflect on certain mistakes that you have done. So, although it doesn't feel good on your side, it is actually growing. So, you have to go through this so that when you get painful enough, you get grown and then you become a better person.
So there's one quote from this book. Never ever stop growing yourself. This is for all good and bad moments. You have to ask yourself a very important question, which is how have you grown? So, for example, bad experience that I had is I signed a 6 years contract with a hospital that sponsor me for studies. Then I will need to work for them for 6 years after graduation. I mean, for now, currently, I hate the job so much, so I'm going to break the bond. So it is definitely not a very good experience, not a very comfortable experience for me. I truly feel uncomfortable and I feel scared about it. But I'm not regret because I know from this experience, I've learned something that is the most precious part. I've learned how to think further, not just consider about the current situation. That's the key point. You have to grow so fast that your friends who have not seen you in a month have to get to know you all over again.
You know, the time passes through so fast, especially in today's world. Most of you think that 1 month is actually not very long, But in reality, 1 month you can really change a lot. Many people come up with new habits within a month, and then the person is grown to be more successful. Now, we understand that you want to grow to be a better person, but at the same time, what you need to do is you have to take note of your transformation routine. So these are the things that you cannot let go of them while developing a new good habits for yourself.
For example, a workaholic, they wanna like improve their work quality or they want to get promotion, so they'll work super, super hard. But at the same time, they forget about the other aspects in their life. Then I think this doesn't align with our goals because at the end of the story, we want to live a synergistic life. So we won't want to miss out any other thing. So at the same time, when you are transforming, you have to take note of different things. For example, you have to eat nutritional food and exercise as much as you can, but within your own ability. You won't want to get injured from it. Or if you don't eat a lot of nutritious food, you eat only junk food, those unhealthy food, and you ignore exercise, then your health situation may not be so well to support you on your transformation journey. So you want to have a healthy body, a healthy mind to support you throughout the whole journey. Then sleep is very important too because if you don't have enough sleep, it is impossible for you to deliver a quality job because sleep is a key factor for you to activate your mind, to help you generate more interesting ideas, to help you communicate better with people with better emotions as well.
So health is an important factor for you to take note on. There is also another one that is equally important, that is about knowledge or education. Most people, they don't really like to invest themselves into buying some books or even educational courses. In our previous episodes, we actually talk about the 6 jars system. Meaning to say, when you first receive your income, you can split them into different categories. There is one of them called the education fund. It is very important. You can allocate like 5 to 10% of your salary into the education fund, and then just use that money to buy whatever resources that can help you to grow yourself over time.
So early this month, actually, I attended a program called Millionaire Mind Intensive by Success Resources. I remember the speaker also talked about the 6 jars, and they mentioned about if you think education is not important enough, try to ignore it. Ignorance will cost you even more than that. So you can just decide by yourself. You want to educate yourself, invest in yourself, or you want to ignore it and see what's the consequences after that.
We have covered 3 of the human's 4 clusters of needs. We'll move on to the next one, which is self-transcendence. We have been talking on how to improve ourselves, but our final goal in our life, right, it is to actually move beyond ourselves. We need to commit to our mission and community. So when you think about if you have no motivation to improve, to do the new habits that you think is good, you think about how you can serve the world. When you wake up with the desire to serve the world, then your problems that you face right now, the negative feeling that you feel right now, they will disappear because you are living more than just yourself.
So, everyone, when we come to this world, we are not just about ourselves. We are about going to give back to this community, how to make our community better, how to push the human race. We want to make everyone become better and better. So let's get myself as an example. I used to wake up every day with fear and tears because, as I mentioned earlier, I do have the 6 years bond with the hospital that cost $120,000. Otherwise, I would just work for them for 6 years as a nurse in that hospital, which I definitely don't want to do so. But the problem is, I do not have the ability to pay back immediately right now, and my family are not able to support me by doing so. So that's why I'm so afraid. But then I suddenly realized my mission here is to help everyone to do whatever they love without worry about their external factors, for example, like money, time, and energy. So that's why I want to break my bond and start to do so. Because of this mission, I suddenly feel that my life is full of hope because by using only $120,000, I'm able to let everyone do whatever they love without any other worries. So I feel like it's super worthy. So, talking about mission, there are two types of mission on this world. One is good and another one is bad. So, for the good one, we call it Humanity Plus, which will help everyone on this world to live a better life, to improve, become a better person, and enjoy their life better, just like what Empower Liion is currently doing. They're helping everyone to integrate their passion into their career without worrying about their external factors like I mentioned just now, the money, energy, and time. So this is pushing human race. We want to let everybody to enjoy their life better, living their life to the fullest. So this is helping people to improve, right? We are helping them to create a better life. So this is humanity plus. And on the other hand, we do have a bad mission, which is what we call humanity minus. You might seem that they're helping people that but not in a good way, but in a bad way instead. For example, what I can tell you is like those online gambling service or those vaping company, they're helping people to put aside their troubles for a while, but then they will cause a bigger consequence. For example, they might be addicted to do so, so they may have to pay for more to get the thing. For example, gambling, let's say, they might need to borrow money from their family members because they are too addicted in gambling. They want to put whatever they have into the game and wanted to get more. This make people become more and more greedy. I think in the long run, this is not good.
Definitely, we want to have humanity plus mission. Now, the next thing is that some people they dream very big and they want to inspire people to do the same. But Vishen Lakhiani, he said in his book, stop inspiring people, but instead be inspired. What does it mean? It means that you don't need to keep telling people what to do. You just need to do your part by transforming yourself first. And when you yourself has changed, people will be inspired by you without you inspiring them. This is what we have been doing in Empower Liion as well. Although in this podcast, we keep telling you to dream big, to, to step out of your comfort zone, but what essentially we are telling you is just words. For us, what we have been doing instead, the actions that we take is that we are living in different countries and we are traveling to different countries, different parts of the world. And if this is the life that you want, then you can mimic after us. So this is how we inspire people in Empower Liion.
Yes, in order to inspire people, you have to think about this. What are you an activist for? So, in order to know what are you an activist for, you have to know about your massive transformational purpose. So, this one, we call it MTP in short. MTP is here to solve global issues because You know, there are a lot of problems that troubling us every day from time to time. But the problem with most of the people is that their problem is not big enough. For example, they're too obsessive, like losing friends. Somebody don't want to talk to me anymore. I'm so sad. Or concert tickets sold out. You know, I can't even buy a Taylor Swift ticket. I'm so sad. But that's not a true problem. That's very minor thing in our life that doesn't worth our energy and mind to think about it. We have to get people obsessed about the real problems. For example, like health crisis, decent education, save the world, and change the course of humanity. These are all the serious issues that we have to address it seriously for our next generation. And then, secondly, once we have our MTP, we have to take a stand for a cause that matters. For example, like war, LGBTQ, be inspired. So what inspires us, draws us, uplifts us? What is it that is worth fighting for? Because we must either agree with something or disagree with something. We cannot be neutral. If we be neutral, that means we are just a follower. We do not care about our own feelings. We do not have any opinion regarding this, which is impossible, right? Although you tell people that you do not have any opinion, you are fine with everything, but you will still have a preference. So let's say I will ask you if you want apple or orange. I mean, you might be more towards apple, but you just tell people you are fine with both. But when people give you orange, you won't be happy about it. So do not compromise, especially for those moral issues.
Again, if you want to be really successful in your life and be remembered, then you have to do these two steps. The first step is to do a reflection, like what causes can you be an activist for? What brands can you support? Then the next step is simply to take action. Take what actions that you can make to align yourself with or create positive missions that forward initiatives in that area that matters to you. Write those ideas down, then take action.
So moving forward, we are going to talk about letting go of good to embrace the great. So I really love the sentence that Vishen Lakhiani held in his book. Sometimes you have to destroy a part of your life that is merely good to allow what is truly great to enter. It is like doing a spring cleaning. You might think something is good enough for you right now, but in the long run, the thing might not be as good as it is right now. So we have to just let it go and welcome the greater part to enter. So for the goals, it is not about are you worthy to reach your goals? It is all about are your goals worthy enough for you? Instead of questioning whether you are good enough to achieve your goals, you should consider whether your goals are meaningful and valuable enough to deserve your time, energy, and commitment. It is about ensuring your goals align with who you are and who you want to be, rather than simply striving for something without considering its deeper impact on your life and growth.
Talking about envisioning your goals, most people they play it small by setting a goal that is achievable but not as grand as those successful people who make. Now, I want to tell you this. This is a misconception, and the truth is the bigger your vision is, the easier that it will get it done. Because when you do something audacious, it becomes easier. When your goal is huge enough and it is clear enough, you will get the best people to join you because the problem that you are solving right now is worth for them to solve it together. This is a very famous example from Elon Musk. His goal, everyone knows, is to make human a multiplanetary species. So this goal is so huge that most people would want to join his company to work together into this grand goal.
Yes, so the second part of the envisioning is all about always speaking of your project 10 years ahead. We don't want to talk about it for the next 1 year, next 2 years, or even next 3 years because actions always line up with what you believe that you are going to achieve. It is like a GPS, like you have to know your destination before you start your journey. If not, you're just hanging around, but you'll never ever reach your destination. So speak of your project 10 years ahead. Know what is your goal, what is your vision at the 10 years from now, then moving towards it.
Some audience here, you are listening, we understand that you hate your job right now, you want to quit, but there is a fear. What if after I quit my job, what will be my lifestyle after that? Where will my income be? Now, everything here will be tough. It will be hard for you. But let's take a step back. You think of what your life will be 10 years ahead after you quit your job and you started a new lifestyle that you want. With that in mind, although the first 2 years, 1 or 2 years, when you quit your job, it will be hard, it will be worth it. You have to let go of the good pay, the good income that you have right now to embrace the greatness of your life 10 years later.
Now, I believe that a lot of people will have anxiety when we talk about you have to speak of your project 10 years ahead. You might think, what if something doesn't meet my expectation or it fails, right? So, this is important here. Give yourself permission to fail because failure is your feedback mechanism. It reminds you to stay committed to the end goal. 50% of your goals should have a 50% rate of failure. A goal is not always meant to be reached. It often serves simply as something to aim at. So even if you don't achieve your goals eventually, you are so near to your goal that you can just maybe spend another few years to achieve it. You are so near to it. So instead of having all goals to be met, why don't you dream a little bit bigger and give yourself some space to improve by failing?
Let me quote what is in the book. Vision says, when I see as my value that we have met 80% or more of our goals for the quarter, I know we have been playing too small. So the goal for you is to set huge goals that it will fail half of the time.
By giving yourself permission to fail doesn't mean that you can have fluffy goals. Your goals need to be audacious. What does it mean is you have to aim high as you can to dream bigger, but to do so with strategies and goals that are grounded and realistic. You cannot just anyhow come by with like you want to send everybody to live in Mars in the next 10 years. That's nearly impossible because the technology is not so advanced yet. You don't even know what's there on Mars. Then you just simply say you want to send people there to live for the next 10 years, right? That's too fluffy for me personally. Although it might seem possible in the next 20, 30 years, but in the near 10 years, I don't think it actually works. So by having a goals, it can be as ambitious as you can, but you need to come up with strategies, know how you get to your goals.
This is a good point. I was talking about just now that you might want to quit your job, and then I told you that you need to have a vision of how your life will be like 10 years later, right? Now, setting a 10-year goal, it is huge, but not something that is unrealistic at all. So you can set a goal that many people have done it. You can see that most successful people, after they quit their day job, they get successful, they have a business, within 3 to 5 years of the time, and they have grown to an international brand after 10 years. So these are not fluffy goals. These are goals that is achievable. If it can achieve by the others, then it can achieve by you as well. You just need to follow a proven system so that you can reach it.
Yes. And speaking of you want to achieve your goals, right? I mean, who doesn't want to achieve their goals? So there are two types of people here. We call them optimists. The first one is indefinite optimist. They trust that the world will be better. I want the world to be as peaceful as they can, no wars at all, no arguments in daily lives, but they do not know how that will happen. They're just sitting there, crossing their legs, waiting for people to do that for them. They have the wish, have the goals, but they have no strategies. They will just, I see, okay, noted, that kind of people. Yeah, they have no strategies. They won't take out their action. They're just waiting for someone else to do it for them. Then the second people, we call them definite optimist. Remember the first one was indefinite optimist, and now is definite optimist. They are the leaders who think audaciously. They have a say in how their vision will turn out. They put themselves in charge and help make their vision a reality. So they have a vision, they have a goals, they do have workable strategies that help them to turn it into reality, not just speaking and giving you an empty check. They set amazing multi-decade goals to radically transform the world. So we really, really need this kind of people to help our world become better, to help everyone to improve into a better person. So ask yourself, are you an indefinite optimist or are you a definite optimist? And which kind of people you want to be?
Yeah, so we can use Elon Musk as an example again. He is definitely a definite optimist. For him, right, although he says that he wants to move to Mars, I mean, he wants to move 1 million people to go to the Mars. He doesn't only have this goal in mind, but he has got a series of strategies and methods lie ahead. Right now, Starship is able to fly to the orbit successfully and come back to be a recycled rocket. That is the first step. After it goes to Mars, how can humans survive on Mars given that the environment is so different than the Earth? Elon Musk has already got a set of strategies. He doesn't know whether it will definitely work on Mars, but these strategies will tell him the outcome, whether it will be failing or being successful. Then he can refine, tweak it, and ultimately this goal will happen.
Elon Musk, that example might be a little bit complicated for people who do not know what is he currently doing, but let's get an easier example. For example, like people around us, especially your colleagues, they will be telling you, "Oh, I hate this job so much. I hope I'm on my bed right now. I want to sleep. I don't want to come to work. It's so tiring. My boss every day scold me. They don't increase my pay. I'm underpaid. Everything. They just do a lot of complaint, but." Do you see them taking any action? Of course, no. Like after 10 years, 20 years, you still see them working in the same organization that they complain about every day. I mean, I personally truly look down at them. Not them as a human, but their thought. They already know what they don't like. They already know if they want to change this kind of thing, they have to take action by leaving the job or even speak up for themselves to the boss, but they don't dare to do so. I feel so sad for them because they will just follow other people, they will compromise just for money. This is not the kind of life that I want. They're definitely an indefinite optimist. Yes, agree? Okay, let's move on. So, after you define your goals, your values, and what you want to achieve in 10 years' time. You have to know what is your new identity, because focusing on the progress or the goals itself may seem a little bit difficult, because focusing on the progress, it might make you very tough to maintain, because for example, let's say you want to keep fit, right? So you give yourself a goal that is you want to eat an apple every day. You won't want to drink any sugary drinks every day. Does it sound tough to maintain? Of course, yes, right? Because sometimes you can't avoid them, especially when you go out with your family members or with your friends. But then, if you focus on the goal itself, it's easier to achieve but not sustainable. Once you are fit enough, you will start to forget about it and you will try to go back to your previous lifestyle. The easiest and the most sustainable thing is focus on your identity.
This is called the law of resonance. The world does not give you what you want or desire. Rather, it gives you who you are, so your identity will shape your experiences.
Yep. So, as Daniel mentioned just now, if what you want does not match who you are, the universe will resist you. You have to focus on the outcome instead, as I mentioned just now. So, focus on the identity shift. Once you have shifted your identity, you don't need to chase after your goals. Your goals will come to you eventually, because your identity match your goals. For example, I treat myself as a visionary leader. So I have a lot of time with my loved one. I have harmony relationships with them, and I'm doing whatever I do freely without worrying about money, time, and energy. That's the identity I want. So instead of focusing on the progress and the end goal, I focus on this identity shift. So whenever I do something, I will remind myself, okay, I'm a visionary leader. So what am I going to do next? I will question myself before I take action.
The knowledge that you received today is really great, but action is key. You have to do something right now to change your life 10 years later.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, remember, see if you want to become an indefinite optimist or definite optimist. So if you want to be definite optimist, start taking action today.
Start by assessing if your current job truly serves you. Take the Stay or Slay quiz at www.empoweredliion.com/s to decide if it is the time to stay or make a bold move toward a more fulfilling career.
This is a small step that will make you a big leap. See you next week for our Future Builders podcast. Stay tuned.
Bye!
Bye.